Alright, I called this guy's raise out of position with 4-2 suited. Again, the only reason I'm doing it is because I believe with this player, if I can catch something big, I can get paid off. We've got an open-ended straight. Depending on what he bets, I may have to see this. And I am going to try to isolate this and raise. It does. I have two ways of winning this hand. It can look like I have a 5, but it can also alright, I'm going to bet a buck here. And now I'm getting a little bit worried of this player, but I did hit my straight, so we'll leave it at that. All right, and that works out. I do want to see what he has. Remember, it's this player that we're playing, so I, you know, because it's this particular player, I'm not saying this player is a bad player, but in this particular game, he's playing very aggressively. So this player had pocket kings. It's just really a horrible mistake to play that like that. You can't limp out. You can't limp out after the flop when I checked. So they were trying to induce a bluff on me apparently, and then she got nervous when I re-raised her. Apparently, maybe because of the 5. I'm going to replay this real quick over here on my other monitor. So I have the 4-2. And hang on, just sorry, I got kids in the background. Okay, so after the flop, I checked, and the person bet the minimum. No reason for me to continue with this hand. I have no draws. Well, I mean, I have a gut shot, but I'm not interested in it, especially when there's a flush draw out there. Could have called it, but if a flush card hits, then I don't know what to do if someone raises on me. I'd have to get runner to actually make a flush. Then I'd only have an 8 high, so I'll just get away from it. But on that last hand, the player bet the minimum, which is just a bad mistake, and I re-raised. Now, when I re-raised, they should have really re-raised me to see where I'm at specifically for that reason. But she didn't. She just flat called. It actually gave me more outs because I hit my 2. Now here's the problem with this scenario here. I got 2 small stacks behind me. I'm just going to limp in here. I don't mind playing a little bit tighter against bad players that will let me see the flop. I'm not saying these players are bad. I'm referring to sometimes at these levels you can get players that will try to limp in with an ace, for example, hit their ace and then get all their chips in, but I could have hit 2 pair on them. But the problem that I just had in this scenario was I don't want to raise these 2 small stacks and then have them come to the top when I'm committed and they're not going away, and I don't want to bully them. If it was a tournament structure, it'd be totally different. I may raise them, just depending, but this player instantly shoved all their chips in. That looks like a very strong hand. I don't even know if I would have wanted to call there with just my queen jack. A small stack that gets all their chips in a hurry like that after they already raised, there's no hesitation. That tells you that that player is very strong. I can also see over here this stack over here has dwindled down their stack. I think when we first started they were like 30 bucks, almost 30 bucks. Now they're down to $13. So we'll pay attention to see if that particular player tightens up. The other thing we got over here is Red Dragon up here is at $35 and hasn't played really any hands, so that tells me that's a better, stronger, tighter player. Maybe not necessarily tighter, but just trying to pick his spots. So we'll have to take that into consideration when we play that particular player. Again, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 small stacks behind me. I'm going to let this go. I would have liked to see that flop with that, but Okay, we just got a big stack that bought in for 25 over here. I'm going to let 9-4 go. Alright, so $1.25 raise on the button. Again, even if you've got a decent hand here, he's only got $3.40 back. I think it's a mistake to call, like with, say, pocket sixes, pocket twos, to try and catch your set, because the whole purpose that you're trying to catch your set is that the person shoves on you or commits a lot of chips. When they do that and you've caught your set, then the reward is obviously a lot higher. I'm going to try to limp in here with the suited jack. Again, when I can get a suited face card and players will let me limp in, a lot of times I'm going to limp in. You know, if you're going to let me see the pot, if you're going to let me see the flop for cheap, I'm going to do it. Now I know that's not the wrong. I know that is the wrong theory, but I also know that, you know, there's potential to make a lot of money if I end up flopping a monster. Obviously not going to call this raise. Now it's getting interesting. I'm going to fold. Yeah, on the one hand, there is an argument to not even get involved in those type of hands. But again, if you're going to let me see the flop for the minimum, I'm gonna call it. You know, most of the time, I've seen bad players let you limp in with a hand, and then one time in particular, I was playing cash, just 1-2, no limit. Hang on a second. 1-2, no limit, and I folded like Queen 4 of spades for $2, and after the flop, it was all flush cards. It's a terrible play with the sixes. Terrible play. And that sucks because now all these guys' chips are gone. Hopefully they buy back in. But anyway, after the play, two players ended up getting all the chips, and it ended up being about a $600 or $700 pot. You know, and you know, there's no way I'm folding my hand, obviously, because there's only literally one card that beats me, and that's a king high flush, or one hand that beats me. So that's why I do that, only because I'm looking for mistakes. Now, when you limp in with those hands, you don't want to be calling raises, obviously. All right, so the dynamics just changed a little bit. We've got a guy that just bought in for $5. I don't like playing these little stacks like this because the way a lot of these little stacks think is they don't have anything to lose. And the problem is you're risking money based on the fact that you don't have there's not a good risk reward scenario for you. So your risk is not as much as theirs. Their risk is, well, if I only lose this much, it's not a big deal. But your risk is, well, if I hit, and that's if I hit, I'm only going to get paid this much. So you really want to play with big stacks, you know, to get paid off. Okay, he bets $1. Again, here's another scenario that just sucks. I'm gonna call him no, but he's only got $3.90 back, so it's, you know, I don't know. We'll try it. See what he does here. He might be scared of that flop. I'm gonna bet 75 cents to see where I'm at. He may have missed and just go away. That works.